Hi, folks, and welcome to our kitchen here at Mountain Fun Life. And we're here to do a little bit of, Mountain Man's going to do a little bit of cooking, and I'm going to kind of watch, and I'll walk him through it, make sure he doesn't mess up or anything. You used to be a chef, didn't you, Mountain Man?
I wasn't a chef. I was more a shelf. I kind of got it off the shelf and stirred it up in some water, but
you got it off the shelf.
Yeah, I learned to cook
and
over
stirred
the
it
years
up
in the military, and my dad was a chef now.
Okay.
Taught me quite a bit.
Yeah, well, that's really good. I'm Robert Ombie, and this is Wayne McCarter, a.k.a. Mountain Man. And you probably know us from the Mountain Morning Show. And so we're here in our brand new set. I think this is the first show that's been done.
I believe it is.
Our Mountain Fun Live.
We're awful proud of it, though, and we'd like to show it off today.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's been a work in progress.
It's been quite a while getting this all together and getting all the little odds and ends done, a lot of the big odds and ends done too.
Yeah,
like
a lot of work.
Preparing everything for it. Yeah, a lot of work. But we welcome each and every one of you here to Mountain Fun Life channel, and we hope that you enjoy this, our first cooking debut. Okay, what we got going on here, Mountain Man? You're going to do wait a minute now. Wait. We got to get this. We got to do this right. Now, if you're going to be doing some cooking here, you got to have the proper attire. Now, I know people are used to this and they expect to see that out of you, but how about getting more in a cooking attire?
I've got more hats than the law allows, but I'll wear it for you.
Okay, now
just so that we look like we.
Does he look official? I think he looks official now. So you are now an official mountain connoisseur.
Connoisseur. That's a big word.
Yeah, it is.
Don't hit me with things I don't know now.
Okay.
I don't have my phone.
Well, let's get into what you know. So let's just move right along here. You tell people just a little bit about what you're going to do now. From what I understand, both of these delicacies here, we were raised on these, right?
This is how I was born and raised. Now, we've come a little bit. You and I, back when we were living, they used water instead of the milk. We'll do things a little bit different.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, they used what they had. And I didn't bring everything, but I went ahead and made up potato soup.
But you can explain kind of the ingredients.
We'll explain that later.
As we go along, he'll be explaining the ingredients.
We're going to get into here, just the basics of what you need to bake this mountain cornbread. I'm going to call it this mountain cornbread.
That's smoky mountain cornbread. Now it's different than any other Appalachian.
It's been used since the 30s around here, probably before.
Now is this a secret recipe that you're revealing?
Lord, no. My wife got me measuring things. I never did measure before, but
she keeps you in line. I know she keeps you straight.
She does.
Keeps you in line.
And she's a little better at it sometimes than me. But, you know, I let her do a lot of the cooking. She helped me with the soup. I got my potatoes a little bit small because of a food processor that I love. At home, I use food processors and all the goodies that you can put in the kitchen. We have a stand mixer and all.
Right. So what we have here now are two traditional mountain delicacies that if you're not familiar with these delicacies, just pay close attention to our own Mountain Fun Life, Mountain Man, and he's going to explain the procedure of making smoky mountain cornbread. Okay, show us what we got here.
We're going to see if we can do this without making a big mess.
Oh, you can't cook without making a mess, or I can't.
And I didn't.
Maybe you're a little better at it than I am, though. Maybe you can do it without making a mess.
And here is another It's your preference. I prefer yellow cornmeal.
I do too.
A lot of people may like white cornmeal. That is your preference.
Seems like it's got a little richer flavor
Exactly.
to it.
I like it so much. Now that is your cornmeal, and it's self-rising cornmeal. Is what I use.
Of course, if they prefer to use the other,
You prefer to use this plain
what they call the
cornmeal.
plain cornmeal, they can
Yes.
add a little bit of baking
Yes.
soda. And
You can use that. Now, myself, I hope if I can get that in there, I'll have to pour it.
Just do it
But
that
I
way.
use, and it's just what I've come up to, and I use two cups.
2 cups of
2
cornmeal.
cups of cornmeal.
2 cups of yellow cornmeal, or if you prefer to use the white cornmeal,
Exactly.
you can use that.
Okay, now this is just self-rising flour. I like everything to rise,
Yeah.
and that's the way that I do it. And I'm going to use just about a half a cup of this. Okay? Oops, see,
Now,
you can't even open the bag without getting it everywhere, but I'll clean up
Well,
after.
that's part of cooking is making a mess.
Yeah, well, I clean as I go.
Now,
Oh,
that helps to hold it together too, doesn't it?
yes. This
It gives it a
is
little
just more.
consistency.
Yes. Now, I'm going to set this here out of the way. And what I have, a lot of people, I like to take and combine my milk and my
Stir it up a
flour.
little bit, yeah.
Yes. Now, my wife would kill me because she says it gets too much air. You don't want to put this in the mixer and do that in the mixer because it whoops too much air into it. Whips. Whoops, whips.
Whoops.
Now,
Good old mountain word, whoops.
good old mountain word. Give me a paper towel behind you.
I'll get that for you right here.
Now, this is another little preference, and it is a preference. I use 2 eggs in mine. Well, you probably
I
would
usually use 1.
Yes, and it's a binder.
Right.
Other things that I do, if I'm home, I use the 1 egg, but I'll put, and it's again optional. Old people always throwed mayonnaise, a big spoonful of mayonnaise, in there,
Mayonnaise.
and it helps it to hold together. Now,
Now I noticed
this
how
is
you
just regular oil.
cracked those eggs with 1 hand. You learned that in the restaurant,
I
didn't you?
did.
Doing that.
I did.
I did a little cooking in the
I
restaurant
can
too.
put them out in a pan with 1 hand.
And I used to cook cornbread. My mother used to get me to cook the cornbread at home because I fix it up kind of the way you do. And I was cracking an egg one day, and I did it with 1 hand like that, put it in there. My mother had just walked into the kitchen. She said, "How did you do that?" She said, "I cannot do that, crack an egg with 1 hand. It takes both." And I said, "Well, practice.
When you
Takes
cook
practice."
a lot, Brother Robert, you learn to do
You
that.
learn to do-
You learn how to separate your egg whites and your yolk.
Right.
And okay, I just added 1/3 cup of oil,
1/3 cup of oil.
and that's
And that's your regular vegetable oil.
regular. It is
You can
regular.
use canola or
Now this is
whatever your preference.
really I should use skim milk because I'm not supposed to have so much, but I use 2%.
I'll not let you eat too much.
The
Don't
thing,
worry, I'll
the
not-
thing about the cornbread here, old people use buttermilk.
Yes, they did.
And
My mother
eat
used to use
buttermilk biscuits, buttermilk cornbread. But my preference, I don't like buttermilk,
it. I don't
so
either.
I use regular milk. Now I don't know what to tell you to add. I like mine, and I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going to put a little, okay? And I like to put this in there, and I don't like it mixed real dry. And we'll kind of show what I've got
Yeah.
here, if they can see that. Looks like a mess in the bowl right now, but I love
So what
it.
you're saying is you don't want it to turn out too thin or
no,
too thick. You've got to
no.
have to where it
You have
will
to
run off
work-
of the spoon.
Do it
or
a time or two, you'll learn your consistencies. If you get it too dry, then it'll be flaky, and you can't cut it and keep it together.
And that does make a difference because
It does.
when I'm making
And I know,
batter for say like waffle mix. Matter of fact, I had waffle this morning, and I've got a technique that's similar to this on doing the waffles when I'm preparing waffles for the waffle iron or the batter for it. If you get it too thin and it runs all over the place, it'll run out of the waffle iron all over everything. If you have the right consistency to where it just kind of flows off of your spoon that you're mixing with, and you pour it in slowly and let it kind of spread out on its own, it'll begin cooking, and then you close your lid down, it won't run all over the place
that is the
on you.
consistency that I like.
That's about right. That's about the way I would do it.
Now when this is prepared, that would be your finished product. And then after that is done, I cook in cast iron.
For cornbread, that is the way to cook cornbread. Old-timey iron skillet. There is nothing can give you. I don't know what it is about it either. Do you? Can you explain that? Why
No,
that it
sir,
has the
I
flavor?
cannot. And it over the years. Now we didn't cook like this in a restaurant.
Right.
We made basically the same thing, but they wanted a little sugar in it. And
Yeah.
I just
Make it a
don't-
little sweet. I don't like sweet
I
cornbread.
don't
No.
either. And we used muffin pans, and we made cornbread muffins.
Right.
Now a lot of people would look at this and they'd say that's Johnny cakes, which is the same thing, except for Johnny cakes are done on top of the stove, where cornbread is done inside the oven.
Right.
Now, I like to put that in the oven on 375 for about 30 minutes.
There's something that I do at home that my family, my wife especially, she loves the when I'll mix my batter, kind of like you did there, and instead of putting it in a pan and baking it in the oven, I will get a smaller skillet, just about that size, and I'll put it on the stove eye and spoon it in there, kind of like making pancakes. The cornbread and just
Johnny
yeah.
cakes. Just
Johnny
like
cakes. Is that what they call Johnny
that
cakes?
is what
Okay.
you would call a Johnny
Okay.
cake.
Now that is a favorite, and sometimes in mine I will chop up some fine onions, chop them up real fine, and I'll mix that in with the batter.
We used, back in the day, they used a lot of renderings,
Right.
and we would fry those renderings up, and you put it in the same thing, and the old people called that crackling bread.
Right.
If you remember
I remember the
the
crackling,
crackling bread,
Mark.
because
Yeah.
people were poor, and they used what they had.
And they
And
used
they
all of it that was usable. They would use it from if they were killing beef, hogs. Probably shouldn't use that word. If they were utilizing their poultry or meat products from the farm, they would use everything that was usable.
that
because,
was generally at a
sometimes that's all
certain
they had.
time of the year,
Right.
because it had to be cold enough to where varmints don't fly.
And where your meat does not
exactly.
spoil in the preparation process.
Exactly. Get it
on
put up before it gets, nowadays we take it and have it processed
Right.
instead of
Processing?
doing it. I hadn't seen it.
plant.
Now my father, he ground his own and he made his own, he spiced it, he made his own sausage.
Are you talking about the old table grinder?
old table
that-
grinders.
That would
That-
latch
they-
right onto the
yeah.
edge. My mother had one of those, and I was always fascinated by watching
It
the
was
process
a
of
meat
putting the
grinder.
chunks of meat in at the top. You feed it in, just like you're feeding it into a electric meat grinder
like,
or
like
electric
your
grinder.
roast that we would cook for a roast today. They would quarter that up and put it in there, and grind that meat out.
Right,
Now, you're doing sausage; it's a little different.
right.
But I mean, they ground everything back then.
And they had the different plates that they could change out to get a
Your
thicker grind or
consistency.
your consistency of the meat, like if you
Yes.
wanted hamburger meat or if you wanted it stringy or whatever, they could change those. I remember those because I used to have to help wash those, and it was, as a kid, I didn't like that too much. But
No,
anyway, that,
well, you know, we didn't like a lot of things as kids.
like-
Kids today wouldn't know what it'd be like to have to get an old milk cow had to be milked twice a day.
Right.
That's a lot of work within itself. Chickens have to be fed.
and the eggs gathered.
The animals.
You still
had-
do a little egg gathering, don't
I
you?
do.
You got that?
And you know, it's because I just love animals.
Right.
I love any kind of animal, and I can't. I don't believe in. You know, if I have a grandson, he wouldn't eat a hamburger if he knowed where it's come from. He just don't believe in killing animals. But,
Right.
But he'll eat a hamburger now.
Now, living
Uh,
living in the mountains and in the country surrounding the mountains, the mountain valleys, the mountain folk and the valley folk around the mountains, they usually grew everything that they had
Everything
for
they had.
winter: corn, beans, potatoes. I remember harvesting the beans and the potatoes, and my dad would put those under a straw, and he would put lime over them to keep, you know, I guess to help keep insects and stuff
when they
out of
were
them.
small, you couldn't go to the store and buy homogenized milk.
Right.
It
Right.
came in a gallon jar. It was whole milk. And they would take and skim the cream off the top of it.
Right.
That's what they made butter. They made their own butter. They done a lot with that milk.
Oh,
But you had the milk, a lot of times they didn't have.
I used to the old hand churn,
Mm-hmm.
the urn, as they
Mhm.
called it, you know, with the wooden top that had the beater that went down into it. I would have to churn that butter.
Wasn't that
the
many
milk.
years ago that my middle sister, she's fast and gone, God rest her soul, she churned butter.
Right.
And but she had the cow that she went twice a day and milk it. Because if you don't, you can't stand to hear the bellowing.
Right.
I mean,
They get uncomfortable.
well,
they,
it hurts
they get
them, and
yeah, it
yeah.
does.
And
They have to
they'll
be
come
milked.
to the barn to want to be milked.
And you were
like
raised
that
on a
run
farm.
it down, is it?
You were raised on a farm, right?
Well, I wasn't
And
actually raised on a farm, but everything we done was from a farm.
From a farm.
Now we raised a good garden.
Yeah.
But see, I was raised in the upper end of Pigeon Forge, and the city ordinances.
Right.
So everything was done at my sister's home.
Okay.
I mean, we even raised tobacco, everything.
I
It was
used to
big
help do that
place. It was
too.
a big
Yeah.
place. I'd squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt. I mean, back in the day, you know, if you kill it, you're going to eat it. That's just the way Dad was. Because he did not believe in just shooting to be shooting animals.
Right.
I mean, old people.
You got to be,
Mhm.
you've got to be
Respect.
compassionate and respectful,
Thank you.
because that's something that you know you don't want to be cruel to something. There's a compassionate way of getting food without a quick, simple way to where there's no suffering involved or anything like that. Vegetarians don't like to hear that. But, you know, mountain folk, if you're vegetarian, that's fine. That's no problem. I love vegetables. You like vegetables
I
too?
do, Brother
I
Robert.
love vegetables.
You know, we'd take the canned tomatoes. Now, Dad had a cellar,
Right.
what we call a cellar. And there's
We had
straw
one.
laid out, and you put your potatoes, lay them out in that straw, and then when it come planting time, they had seeded and
Right.
had sprouts, and we'd cut those up for seed potatoes.
And grow your next crop
Grow
from
your next
those.
crop
I've
from-
done the same
Other
thing.
than that, he used them for soups, mashed potatoes, and you know.
Well,
I'm old-fashioned, and I call it tater salad. But
Tater
the
salad,
correct
yes.
word is potato salad. We'll be a little bit like we ain't from
Grammatically correct.
Like we ain't
like
from Hillbilly.
like we got a few raisins. We got a few
Yeah,
raisins.
there it
Okay,
is.
our time is moving right along here, so let's move on to our next product that you've got here. By the way, that you've gone through the ingredients. Don't you have a finished product before we get
I
to our
do
next?
have a finished product.
Why don't we show that to the folks?
we have
if you
done
want to
that.
just kind of step out over.
And we will.
We got a range
We
right
will.
over here.
Now,
Home,
like I said,
home on the
like I
range.
said,
Oh, that's a different kind of
I
range.
like to cook.
You got. Oh, look at this,
I like
folks.
to cook in cast
Turn
iron.
that up and let the folks see this. Now that is a golden brown, and when you get it golden brown like that, at what you make that what on about 450.
375.
375. You don't want to go that way. You don't burn it on the bottom. And a good
and,
old-fashioned iron skillet.
Another thing is it's preference. Again, you bake this just a little bit longer, you have a thicker crust.
Exactly.
And
Right.
A lot of
I
people,
got you.
A lot of people like the crust. Most of my family, they love the crust.
It goes good with soup beans. Kind of crumble it up in your soup
Exactly.
beans or black-eyed
Exactly.
peas. And
Now,
okay,
that's really good with some good butter. If you got some real butter, your tongue beats your eyebrows off trying to get to it. I kid you not. It's
only
really good.
mountain man, only mountain man. Okay, we're running pretty close. We're getting
We'll explain.
letting a little bit of time get away here. So let's go ahead and tell the folks about what you got right here on the stove cooking.
Okay, this is potato soup. Just homemade mountain style.
You step on that side, and I'll get over
Potato
here and
soup.
guard the cornbread. I'll not let anyone run off with it.
When you peel those potatoes, now I like mine a little bigger than other people. I'll run these to a approved food processor because I was in a hurry. But
You kind of quarter them.
I do.
You take a standard sized potato and quarter it. That's usually what I
Yep.
do.
And then you cook that. You don't want it soft. We're not making mashed potato.
Right.
You want that just real good and soft.
Where it's tender enough for
Yeah.
a fork
Exactly.
to slide into it without it
Yes, without it just
being
falling
crunchy
apart.
and falling apart. Right.
And a lot of people use heavy whipping cream. I just use an evaporated milk.
Evaporated milk. That's good. That's
There's
good to
different-
use. Ain't it?
There's different preferences.
Depends on what you want. If you want it thicker, soupy, whatever. That way you can make up your own mind as to which that you prefer
There's
to put
different
in.
ways to tighten your soup too.
Right.
Now you can use this,
Tighten. You mean the
the
consistency?
consistency. You can get that either with cornstarch and a little water.
Add a
Old
little
people-
cornstarch if
old
you want it
people-
thick.
Old people use flour, just regular
That will work.
flour and water. To me, I don't like the potatoes are starchy enough. So if I do that, I like to make a butter roux. I know you don't like butter, but if you cook the starch out of the flour and then tighten it.
Butters, I'm kind of allergic to butter, buttermilk,
I'm
and
poking at you
mayonnaise.
now,
but yeah,
I'm a butter eater. You
but now
bet.
I can if it's
I
cooked
eat good.
if it's cooked into something say like peas, beans, if it's just a spoonful or two, if it's cooked in, when it's eating it raw is something I can't do, like spreading it on the cornbread.
Oh, you're
but now you got
un-American.
that's unpatriotic. Huh?
I mean,
I'm sorry. That
I
is.
tell you, this is great. I love it for a midnight snack. Just to put it in the bowl and pour a little milk.
Yeah. Now you're talking about the consistency of this is potato soup
Potato
that you have here. Now, and if the consistency, if it's not too thick, what I like to do, now some people might not, they think, oh, that's not sophisticated. I like to take a piece of the cornbread and crumble it up into the potato soup.
Now you're talking.
Or, yes,
Now you're talking.
kind of
That's
stir
real
it up,
bitty
you
sopping
know,
without
and that is,
sopping in.
that's what you call genuine hillbilly sopping. That's what that is, right? Am I right on that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Harvard didn't completely ruin me on some of my
Biscuits and gravy. That's what that biscuit.
biscuits and
Salt,
gravy.
fat gravy.
Matter of fact, my wife fixed some delicious biscuits and gravy. Sometimes we get the hankering to have, people think that is a breakfast, and it is a good breakfast dish.
And sometimes
Food.
we like it for dinner, don't we?
We ate it for dinner the other night. We sure did.
Nothing wrong with that. Done it many times. It's just the way we were raised.
Okay, now your ingredients.
Now my ingredients in this is, like I say, I just cook the potatoes. Now I drain my potatoes. A lot of people don't, but I do. And then I like to use either, like I say, evaporated milk and then a little more of your 2%. But now,
The
brother,
2%, okay.
Brother Robert,
Or if they like whole.
it's according to what you like. I most of the time that's just me. You can tighten it. We like to say a butter roux, flour and water, little cornstarch and water. But I don't. I like to take and do it cheaply and take instant potatoes. And
Right.
tighten it because it's a potato.
No, I hadn't thought of that.
food.
That's a good idea. Now, you added a few little extras to enhance the flavor. Tell the folks about
There's a
that.
little hint of garlic in there.
Yeah. That's not a secret recipe now.
No, it's not
okay.
no secret recipe. You want to really use white pepper.
White
Because,
pepper.
Yes, and if you just
Well,
want
I hadn't thought of that either.
if you want to make it pretty, use some gourmet black pepper.
You're just full of some good cooking wisdom here. I'm learning. I'm
You
getting
learn
some good
different
pointers
things,
here. Yeah.
But you know, like you're making sausage, you wouldn't want black pepper. You'd want white, so it don't stand out.
Right.
Okay, and that's just we'll get into that later date. But anyway, this kind of might have a little garlicky taste to it. I don't know. I was in a hurry this morning, and there it is.
I like heavy garlic flavor. That would be
I
fine
like
with
a little
me.
more time
Right.
than I did this morning, and you'll have to excuse my old pot.
We did get kind of
That's my favorite cooking pot.
we did get kind of caught off guard, didn't we?
Well,
Kind of
just a little bit. I
But
like to have a little more time, but it don't
We
matter.
pulled it
It
together.
don't matter. I've enjoyed this. It's been a hoot.
Yes, and your other ingredients.
And I hope that it will encourage some of the big cooks in the county to come in.
To come in.
maybe.
Hey, yeah, that is a great idea.
If you
If you're
want-
out there and you have a top-notch recipe, or if you're a top-notch chef here around town, anywhere around town, and you would like to come in to Mountain Fun Life channel, and you would like to present your expertise as Mountain Man has done, we would like to hear from you at www.mountainfunlife.com. Just get in touch and say, hey, this cooking deal here, I want to get in on this, and we would welcome you, and you could present your product, your recipes.
For notoriety, I couldn't hardly afford for you to get rich off of me here. It is brand new, and there's not a lot. We're doing the best we can with the money.
This is our first cooking
It
show
is.
here too, and we
It is.
hope that we're doing
I've enjoyed
a good
it.
job at it.
I
Yeah,
would have rather had a name brand chef come in, but
you're doing okay.
we'll cook till the cooks get you. How's that?
Now think about it. Think about it. A name brand chef probably wouldn't know what to do with this mountain cooking.
Well, he
Did
don't
you
have
think
to
about
do
that?
mountain cooking.
Right, exactly.
But how many
for your
people,
part,
how many people in the county here would know what rumaki is? That's just a big word. For
I'm
you
not
to-
sure that. Now you're pulling big words.
No.
What does that mean?
That rumaki is it's a hors d'oeuvre, and it is a goose liver with bacon.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't. No,
I'll quit right there. I done lost you, hadn't I?
you totally lost me.
Okay, but this is a big, you know.
I'll look that up in my funkin' wagnall when I get
One day
home.
we may do some country style, some home style eggs Benedict.
Okay, we've got about one more minute here, so
Let's-
why don't
why
we?
you get us a bowl there? We'll show a little bit of what we've got made. I brought bowls so when we're done.
These are ones you
just
want me to open them up.
And take
We're-
the top one off because I don't know what's in it. I like the one underneath. That's just me.
You don't want the top bowl.
No, sir, I don't.
Are you a little bit
You can put it
superstitious
back-
on
You
us?
can put it back on there for a cover. No, I'm not superstitious. I ain't
You
a
just
germaphobe
being
either.
you're just being mountain man. I know
Yeah.
what you've been.
I'm touching,
Yeah.
but I'm going to get a bowl of this out of there. We've got it low and simmering. I cooked this early this morning. I got up early. Robert kind of laid one on me there yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't get up that early.
We'll have to hold that lid for
I'll
me
hold
there,
the
brother.
lid.
I'm just going to get some out and show the people. Now I put some chopped chives in here.
Chopped chives. I knew you were forgetting an ingredient.
Yeah, I did. It's just for preference.
Yeah.
It's coloring to make it pretty.
If they prefer, they can put the
We
chives
we
or
just prettied
not.
it up a little bit. That's all we've done. That is really. Ooh,
Now that
smells-
I'm telling you, that
Oh,
just
that
really
smells
that
good.
really
that really does. You can put that
oh
back
boy
on
that
there,
that
brother,
does.
and I'll hold it.
Kind of
But
turn that up there and let the
I
people
want
get
to,
a
without pouring it
get a
out.
shot of it.
Don't let.
I mean that is just. I'll try
Oh.
not to pour it out.
See, I got my potatoes a little small. But
That-
like
that's
I
all
said,
right.
At home, I have a food processor.
Yeah, but
If-
that
if
is
Bob's
just.
wife don't have one, she needs to yell at him.
Don't give her that instruction.
I've got a good 10.
He probably hears
10
enough
cup
of that.
processor that I love. It'll chop, it'll slice, it'll grade, it'll do anything you want. It'll even puree. If that's what you're into. We're gonna wrap it up here.
We're going to wrap it up. We hope that you have enjoyed our very first cooking show from Mountain Fun Life. And remember, if you're out there and you have a good recipe that you would like to present and make available to people, and just come in here and you can do your thing, do whatever you want to do and make your presentation. www.mountainfunlife.com, and we would be so tickled. That's why we say it here in the mountains.
That's the way we
We
say
would
it.
be so tickled, pleased to see you and maybe sample some of your cooking. So don't forget us and say bye, Mountain Man.
Bye, Mount Man, and appreciate it.